What's up, everybody? It's Quest here, Quest Nutrition Network, and we're back here with another video. Really important topic. Wanted to talk about supplements today, and this basically came about because I had somebody that asked me about supplements and what were my thoughts about supplements, and I wanted to come and really discuss it and express some of the things that I do on a regular basis as it pertains to my daily supplement intake. Now, two of the ones that I take on a regular basis, some that are very, very important for myself as well as my family, are vitamin D3 and B12. So we'll start off with vitamin B12. All right, first off, one of the things that's very, very important to me is when I take a vitamin B12 and I take certain supplements, I like it to be organic. I like it to be non-GMO and gluten-free. There's so many supplements nowadays. When you look on the labels, there's like a million different ingredients. So the first thing that you want to do when it comes to taking supplements, purchasing supplements, try to purchase something that is organic, doesn't have GMOs, and it's non-GMO, it's organic, it's gluten-free. You want it to be as natural as it possibly can be, as close to being natural as it possibly can be. The next thing is what I look for is with vitamin B12, I want it to be methylcobalamin. All right, when you're looking on the label, you want it to be methylcobalamin. That's the type of vitamin B12 there is, because there are different types of vitamin B12s. There is cyanocobalamin, and then there is methylcobalamin. That's what this particular brand is. Now, the reason why I like methylcobalamin is that it's easily absorbed into your system. Cyanocobalamin, that type of vitamin B12, it's hard for your body to properly absorb it. And unfortunately, cyanocobalamin, that vitamin B12 it's mostly prevalent in the marketplace right now when you go and you buy a vitamin B12. So that's the one that's mostly prevalent, but it's also the one that's hardest to digest. That's hardest to absorb, especially if you're a person who has digestive issues. So you certainly want to consider something that contains the methylcobalamin. Now, some of the deficiencies that individuals will have if they're very low in vitamin B12 is that you'll be low in energy. All right, your energy levels will be low even if you're exercising regularly and you go into the gym regularly. All right, vitamin B12 is responsible for the formation of red blood cells. Red blood cells carry around oxygen. So somebody who is low in vitamin B12, because the red blood cells is not carrying the oxygen to your cells and your muscles, you may have muscle aches and things like that. So definitely important for the functioning of your red blood cells, the processing of the red blood cells, as well as there's benefits in cognitive, in your brain development, as well as individuals who have, it lowers your risk of dementia, lowers your risk of Alzheimer's, things of that nature. So that's basically inflammation of your brain. So definitely benefits for things as it pertains to your brain. All right. Vitamin B12 is also going to be important for your energy levels. That's going back to what we talked about in regards to oxygen and oxygen being carried to your cells and things of that nature. We talked about brain function. There's also research of vitamin B12 on MS levels, multiple sclerosis. There's benefits for vitamin B12 for your sleep. It benefits the melatonin. Melatonin helps you to sleep better. So the release of the hormone melatonin is assisted by taking B12. There's also benefits for the release of the hormone serotonin. Serotonin is very important for your mood. All right. I also read about thyroid health as it pertains to vitamin B12. So definitely a lot of good things as it pertains to B12. And again, if you don't have enough B12, if you're B12 deficient, you're going to have low energy levels. You're going to be lethargic, things of that nature. So definitely something that you want to incorporate into your regular diet. And D3 is the other one that I take on a regular basis. Now, again, as I stated before, when it pertains to the B12, with the D3, I get it in a liquid form. The B12, I get it in a liquid form so that it is immediately available to my body. My body doesn't have to go through all kinds of different processes to break it down. It's immediately bioavailable. It goes straight into your system. The other thing about what I mentioned before as it pertains to B12, with D3, you certainly want to make sure that you get organic version, liquid, organic, non-GMO, and gluten-free. Okay? These are very, very important aspects of when you're purchasing a vitamin supplement. You don't want something that's got a bunch of different ingredients. When you're reading it, it's got like 50 different ingredients. You want it to have just a few ingredients, and that's usually what I look for. All right. I remember I did a research study. This is a couple of years back when I was finishing up on my master's degree, and I did a research paper on vitamin D3 and lowering the risk of prostate cancer. And I was looking at the African American community in my research, and it showed significant results of the intake of vitamin D3 and the lowering of the risk of prostate cancer. And then also, in doing the research, it also showed other types of cancer: breast cancer, prostate cancer, different types of cancer around the body. With the intake of vitamin D3, it lowers your risk. All right? And then on the flip side, individuals who had significantly low levels of vitamin D3, there was an increased risk of the development of cancers. And I was looking at the African American male community during the research that I was doing, but then I was also seeing the same consistency in the research in other communities, other cultures and things like that. So definitely important when we're thinking about cancer and cancer prevention. And one of the things that I was reading in regards to the reason why that is that vitamin D3 has the ability to stop cancer in its very, very beginning stages, because of course cancer starts off in the cell, at the cellular level, and then once one cell is infected, it goes to another cell, and it goes to another cell. So if you can stop cancer in its tracks in the very, very inception, in the very beginning stages, then you can ultimately reverse the process. So definitely a very, very important, that in itself is an extremely important reason why taking vitamin D3 is important. Another important thing that I saw in the research was that vitamin D3 is very important when it pertains to inflammation and lowering your risk of inflammation. Diseases that are associated with inflammation are things like arthritis, anything that sort of ends with itis, arthritis, which is inflammation in your joints. Dementia and Alzheimer's, this is inflammation in your brain. There is a lower risk of, when you take vitamin D3 and you are incorporating vitamin D3 regularly, it lowers your risk of dementia and Alzheimer's, which is, once again, the inflammation in your brain. And then things like colitis and Crohn's disease, which is inflammation in your digestive tract. Vitamin D3 has shown very positive benefits of regular use of vitamin D3 in lowering your risk of these types of inflammatory diseases. So that alone, those two things alone are very, very important in terms of lowering your risk of certain diseases. And of course, vitamin D3 is important for absorbing certain nutrients like calcium and phosphorus. Calcium is also always associated with the strength of your bones and things of that nature. So again, I can't stress this enough. Our population in the United States, especially in the northern states, places like Illinois, New York, the state of New York, New Jersey, northern states, Maine, Massachusetts, during the winter time, during the winter months, we're getting less sunlight. And when we think about it in terms of, if you're working a 9 to 5, you're in your 9 to 5 from 9 to 5. You're in your office and you're not getting out until 5 o'clock. And by the time you get out of your office, it's dark outside. So you haven't gotten a significant amount of sunlight, which is where we naturally derive our vitamin D. So in those winter months is when our vitamin D, according to the research, our vitamin D levels plummet to really, really low levels. And what's interesting is that a lot of the times when I speak to people, they'll say, well, I went to the doctor and my doctor said that my vitamin D levels are really, really low. So they start taking vitamin D3. So I found in the research, as well as in talking to people, that a lot of people's vitamin D levels are very, very low. And it could lead to a host of, it could increase your risk of a host of other conditions that I mentioned. Some of them I did mention, and some of them I haven't mentioned. So definitely some important reasons to incorporate these two supplements in your regular everyday intake. And certainly check with your doctor if you are low in vitamin B12 and if you are low in vitamin D3. And yeah, so I definitely wanted to share that information. And once again, thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you like the video, please subscribe. If you like the content, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. And please share it, like it. All right. And once again, it's Quest Nutrition Network. This is Quest here, signing out. Take care and enjoy the rest of your day. Eat right, live fit, and do all those things. Eat right, live fit, and feel good. All right. Take care. Peace out.